Why do we lie? The hidden truth your brain doesn't want you to know. Hey, how's it going? Ready for a mind-blowing journey? Today we're going to talk about something we all do, but almost no one truly understands: lying. And no, we're not just going to stick to a simple lying is bad. We're going to do something much more epic. Imagine we're going to descend through 5 levels of knowledge, each one deeper and more revealing than the last. I promise you that when we're done, your way of seeing honesty, deception, and even yourself will have changed forever. Do you dare to come down with me? Level 1, the surface everyone knows. Come on, let's start with the most obvious thing in the world. Why do we lie? Well, the first answer that comes to mind is to avoid punishment. It's the lie of the child who says, "I didn't break the vase for fear of being punished," or ours when we tell the boss, "Yes, it's almost ready," when in reality we haven't even started. It's the most basic shield we use to protect ourselves. But of course, we don't just lie out of fear, we also do it to be liked. These are the famous white lies. Think of that time a friend showed you a song they had composed, and even though you thought it sounded horrible, you told them, "Hey, that sounds great, keep it up." You didn't do it out of malice, but to protect their feelings and maintain your friendship. It's the social lubricant that prevents the world from being a battlefield of uncomfortable truths. And this is nothing new. In fact, it's a very old survival strategy. Imagine our ancestors on the savannah. If a member of another tribe, a rival tribe, asked them, "Hey, where's your camp?" what would they do? Tell them the truth so they would come and steal their food, or worse? Of course not. They would point in the opposite direction. Deception, in its most primitive form, was a tool to stay alive for one more day. And on the other side of the coin, we have honesty. From childhood, we're drilled with the idea that being honest is the right thing to do. It's valued, rewarded, taught in stories. But have you ever stopped to think why? Why have we as a society decided that telling the truth, even when it hurts, is a kind of moral superpower? Okay, let's recap this first level. We lie to avoid punishment, to fit in socially, and it's an ancestral survival tactic. And on the other hand, we value honesty as a pillar of society. This is what everyone knows. It's the tip of the iceberg, the movie synopsis. Easy, right? But if this is what we see on the surface, what secret engines move it underneath? It's time to dive in. Get ready for level 2. Level 2, the hidden mechanisms. Remember how we talked about lying to avoid problems at the beginning? Well, the first revelation is that this isn't just a conscious decision. Our brain is programmed to be, well, a bit lazy. It always seeks the path of least resistance to save energy. And often, coming up with a quick excuse consumes much less mental energy than facing a long, complicated conflict. Lying at a cerebral level can simply be a shortcut to save battery. And those little lies to avoid hurting people, they are governed by a powerful invisible rule: social cohesion. Imagine a group of friends is like a house of cards. Each person is a card. Brutal honesty would be like slamming a hand on the table, direct, sincere, but it brings everything down. White lies are like small, careful adjustments we make so the castle doesn't collapse. They are an unwritten rule to keep the group united and functioning. But it gets weirder, because the person we lie to the most is ourselves. And this happens because of a factory error we all have in our brains called confirmation bias. What is this? It's very simple. Your brain loves to be right. It's like a fan of its own team. If you believe you are a generous person, your brain will look for and remember all the times you were, and ignore or minimize the times you were selfish. It tells you a lie to confirm the story you had already told yourself about yourself. This interplay between honesty and deception was forged in our deepest past. Think of the first human villages. There was no police or contracts. Your only currency was your reputation. If you earned the reputation of being a liar, no one would hunt with you, no one would share their food, no one would trust you. Being honest was not just a moral issue, it was the only way to have allies and survive. Your word was literally your life insurance. So, if you notice, all these mechanisms we are seeing actually solve a super basic human need: the need for belonging and security. The ability to detect who is trustworthy and who is not, and the ability to present yourself as someone reliable, are the tools we use to build relationships, families, and entire societies. It's not just about lying or not lying, it's about managing trust so we don't end up alone. And here comes the last mechanism of this level, the one that changes everything: self-deception. At the beginning of the video, we thought that lying was something we did outwardly to others. But now we see that the most powerful and frequent lie is the one we tell ourselves. And this is crazy because it means that many times when we lie to others, we are not even aware that we are doing it because we have first convinced ourselves. Understanding these hidden gears is like going from being a mere passenger in your own mind to sitting in the pilot's cockpit. Suddenly, you can start to see why you feel the need to tell that little lie or why you cling so much to an idea. It gives you the power to understand yourself better, and that, my friend, is a superpower. But if you thought we had everything clear, get ready, because this is where the story turns into true chaos. Buckle up, we're going to level 3. Level 3, the chaos of reality, debates and complexities. Here we have the first major philosophical debate. On one side, there are those who say that lying is always wrong, 0 exceptions, as if truth were a universal law that can never be broken under any circumstance. On the other side, there are those who say, wait a minute, what if you have to lie to save someone's life? They believe that consequences matter, and that sometimes a lie can create a greater good. It's the eternal debate between rules and results. You know what they say about someone not looking you in the eyes, meaning they're lying? Well, let me tell you a secret. It's a myth. Science has proven time and again that there isn't a single body signal that reliably betrays a liar. And you know why we love to believe that myth? Because it gives us a false sense of control. We want to believe we have a superpower to detect lies, because the world is less frightening if we think we can see the truth at a glance. Now get ready for a paradox that will blow your mind. I call it the paradox of honesty. We demand 100% honesty from our politicians, our partners, companies, but we ourselves tell small lies every day. I'll be there in 5 minutes. What an interesting story. Yes, I've read the terms and conditions. Do you realize? We live in a constant contradiction. We demand a standard of purity that we ourselves are incapable of meeting. And let's talk about those people who go through life saying, I'm just very sincere, and use it as an excuse to blurt out unfiltered, hurtful truths. We've been sold the idea that brutal honesty is a virtue. But stop and think, is it really correct? Or is it in many cases a socially accepted way of being cruel? Where is the line between sincerity and lack of empathy? It's something that, as a society, we accept without questioning too much. This tension has changed over time. Think about lies in politics. Centuries ago, deception and secret diplomacy were considered tools of the state, something normal. Today, a politician's lie can cause a massive crisis of trust in street protests. Our tolerance for official lies has plummeted, and the debate over what is acceptable and what is not is fiercer than ever. And this leads us to a fundamental problem of our species. Our entire civilization, from money to laws, including love, is based on one thing: trust. It's the glue that holds everything together. However, our own biology, as we've seen, has given us the incredibly sophisticated ability to deceive and break that very trust. We are the architects of a system that we ourselves have the power to demolish. It is the great tension of the human condition. As you can see, this level is a mess. The reality of deception and honesty is not black or white. It's a spectrum of grays full of debates, paradoxes, myths, and uncomfortable questions that have no easy or single answer. It's a wonderful and complicated chaos. Very well, you've survived the chaos. Now it's time to see the details that separate the curious from the true connoisseurs. Welcome to Level 4. Level 4, Expert Knowledge, Niche Secrets. Okay, this is something you won't find with a quick Google search. Let's talk about Machiavellian intelligence. This is a fascinating idea that says our huge, complex brains didn't evolve to make tools or hunt mammoths, but for something much more complicated: managing our social relationships. To compete, cooperate, form alliances, and yes, to strategically manipulate and deceive other group members. Our brain is, above all, a social and political brain. For this to work, there's a key part of our brain, the neocortex. And what is that? Imagine the neocortex is your brain's simulation and public relations department. It not only allows you to have complex language, but it lets you do something incredible: simulate future scenarios. When you're about to tell a lie, your neocortex kicks into high gear, imagining, if I say this, how will the other person react? What evidence could disprove me? What's the best story I can construct? Lying isn't a brain malfunction, it's a demonstration of its incredible computational power. And there's a secret hero in this story, a biologist named Robert Trivers. In the mid-20th century, while everyone was studying the beautiful side of cooperation, Trivers dared to look at the dark side. He developed the theory that self-deception, that ability to lie to ourselves that we saw earlier, wasn't just a simple psychological error. He argued that it had evolved with a purpose: to make us better liars to others. He's a genius who connected evolution with our deepest lies. Now, I present to you a rebel view of the topic that turns everything upside down. It's signaling theory. This theory states that honesty isn't simply good, it's a costly signal. What does this mean? Imagine a peacock with its enormous, colorful tail. That tail is costly. It makes it more vulnerable to predators. But precisely because of that, it's an honest signal of its genetic quality. The same happens with honesty. Being honest when it's easy says nothing about you. But being honest when it would cost you a lot to lie, that's an incredibly powerful signal that you are a trustworthy ally, a high-quality mate. Honesty is an act of strategic courage. Here's a fact that clashes head-on with common sense. Research has shown that very intelligent people are not necessarily better at detecting lies in others. But, and here's the kicker, they are often much better at lying. Why? Because their powerful brain simulation department, that neocortex we talked about, allows them to construct more complex, coherent, and convincing lies, and they are also masters at rationalizing their own lies so they don't feel bad. Intelligence doesn't always go hand in hand with virtue. And now the aha moment that connects everything. Remember we talked about lying to ourselves and that lying requires a powerful brain? Well, here's the definitive connection. Self-deception evolved so that we could lie better. If you convince yourself that your lie is true, your conscious mind believes it. And if you believe it, you don't produce the typical signs of nervousness or doubt that could give you away. You become the perfect liar. Self-deception is not a weakness, it's the ultimate software for social espionage. Reaching this level of detail isn't just about accumulating curious facts. It's about understanding that behaviors we see as simple moral failures are, in reality, incredibly sophisticated strategies, polished by millions of years of evolution. It gives you a deeper and strangely more compassionate view of human nature. We've reached the limit of what is known. Do you dare to look further towards the final frontier? Hold on tight, we're going to level 5. Level 5, the final frontier, speculation and awe. Let's think about the future. With the arrival of artificial intelligence, deepfakes, and virtual avatars, how will deception evolve? We could be entering an era where reality itself is hackable, where we can't trust our eyes or ears. The battle between truth and lies might cease to be a psychological game and become a technological war. And this leads us to the deepest question that science, as of today, cannot answer. If deception and intelligence are so intimately linked, as we saw with Machiavellian intelligence, would it be possible to create a truly conscious and advanced artificial intelligence that was incapable of lying? Or is deception an emergent and inevitable property of any complex consciousness? We have no idea. Now here's an idea that will blow your mind. Some neuroscientists and philosophers argue that your entire perception of reality is, in itself, a kind of controlled hallucination. Your brain doesn't show you the world as it is. It shows you a useful model, a simplified user interface so you can survive. It actively filters, edits, and constructs what you call reality. If this is the case, what is truth? The line between perception and deception becomes incredibly blurry. Your brain is constantly lying to you to keep you sane and alive. Understanding this whole game of truth and deception could be the key to our future as a species. We are at a critical point. Disinformation about climate change, fake news that polarize societies, information bubbles. Our global survival depends on our collective ability to navigate this chaos, to distinguish a reliable signal from destructive deception. It is our great evolutionary test as a civilization. And here I leave you with the last, most provocative idea. Perhaps honesty is not the opposite of deception. Perhaps they are just two different tools in the same box, the box of consciousness. They are not good or bad in themselves. They are strategies we use to build and navigate realities. And the final question isn't why do we lie? The real question, the one that matters, is what reality are we trying to create for ourselves and for others every time we choose one tool or another? And so the descent has ended. We have traveled from the simplest surface to the strangest depths of knowledge. Now, with this new and complete perspective, it's time to return to the surface and contemplate the incredible panorama we have discovered. It's incredible to think that we began this journey with an idea as simple as a child lying to avoid punishment for breaking a vase. And we've ended up in a place where we question if our own reality is a construct of our brain, and if honesty and deception are just tools to shape that reality. We've gone from a lie to hide a fact to the idea that perhaps we live inside a great and useful lie called perception. That has been our journey. And you? What idea from this whole journey has impacted you the most or made you think differently? I want you to tell me. Leave your reflection in the comments. I'm really eager to read what you think. It's been an incredible pleasure to make this journey with you. Thank you for your time and curiosity. And if you enjoyed this descent into the depths, subscribe, because we have many more worlds to explore together. See you on the next journey.